Sky Squad, we are back in the building, and we got to talk this morning about Kandi coming to Kenya's defense. And then fans clap back at Kandi, and then Kenya into the chat. Let's get into that. But before we do so, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on this video, and be sure to join the Sky Squad membership community where we have some fun, extra, and exclusive content for you guys, just for you. All right. So, with that being said, let's get into the tea of it all. Okay. So, Kandi and Tiny hit the Streets Morning Takeover show to talk about probably their tour, right? But the conversation then turns to housewives. So let's take a listen to what Kandi had to say. Well, Kandi and Tiny, what they had to say, because Kandi says she doesn't like the fact that Kenya was suspended from Real Housewives of Atlanta for allegedly showing the revenge piece. She says, quote, "How many times we done did something that you think somebody shouldn't do?" So let's get into it.
Go ahead.
So, Kandi, housewives, you ain't there no more.
No.
Aren't you glad that you ain't there this season? They pulling out guns and shit. They threatening the people. I don't think that ever happened on the show before.
Hey, you
Yeah,
know what?
right.
I be I right now I'm like, okay, it's good. I ain't there, good, but Cynthia's like, okay, once the show actually airs, she said I'm gonna miss it then.
Okay.
I don't miss it so much now. And realistically,
Well, that's interesting to know that she doesn't miss it as well because Kandi is booked and busy. Did y'all see that she's also going to be on what is the show on Hulu? Reasonable Doubt. Have y'all seen that show? That show is really, really, really good. So I think they played a clip of that when she was on some morning talk show just this past week. So if you are a Kandi fan, if you are a Reasonable Doubt fan, she will be on season 2.
I do see stuff and I'm like, why they doing that? Like, I don't like the fact that they suspended Kenya.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people's like, she shouldn't have shown that. But this is housewives. Like, how many times we done did something that you think somebody shouldn't do? So who made the rules? Like, why
Right.
y'all all of a sudden got such an issue with somebody doing something crazy to somebody? It's
Believe
like,
it or not, that
if-
drama.
So this is an interesting perspective because it was also the perspective that was shared by Mariah. As in the question is, where is the line? Who establishes the rules? When were the rules made? And why now? Okay. This is so again, I'm just kind of listening to the I don't know. I'm listening to what some of the people who have been currently on some of these shows are saying, and I'm trying to decipher what really goes on behind the scenes that we don't really know about, right? So let's continue to listen.
If it
Draws
was in the
too.
public, if it was in the internet, and the girl came at her, it's like, okay, well,
That was the
you
Yeah.
don't
result.
get to choose how she come back. So I just wasn't feeling all of that. But hey, we'll see when it come on TV.
Yeah, for Kenya
Everybody's
Moore,
so sensitive now. Everything,
Yeah.
and I just knew.
So this is an interesting one because Tiny then says everybody's so sensitive now, which people are definitely a lot more sensitive to issues that I think that we should be sensitive to a certain degree, right? Because if something feels like it's not right, I think people are no longer just going to acquiesce because of the fact that it may have been funny or it may make good television. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I mean, I do think that there is some merit in the idea that people are extra sensitive now, but I don't think that's a bad thing because we have a better understanding of sometimes definitely what's right and what's wrong and what feels right and what feels wrong. And I think the key with Kenya is for me, this is about it just feels wrong at its inception, right? If it doesn't feel like something we think that Kenya should do. So I think that's where it starts for me, right? Not to mention the legality of it, which is the reason why I believe they are doing an investigation and why she would be suspended while they're doing said investigation to see exactly what happened, what are the legal ramifications for all parties involved before they proceed. That is what should happen. Okay. In my opinion. Now, there were a lot of people that had, some issue with Kandi saying this because some people felt like well, if Kandi wouldn't film with Phaedra after she said what she said, why would perhaps why would Brit want to film with Kenya, or why would the network tolerate what Kenya has done when Phaedra got the boot after what happened with her, right? Because a commenter says, but when Phaedra lied, she got kicked off, and you praised Bravo for doing so and refused to ever film with her again. What Kenya did was wrong slash illegal. And I'm going to say alleged because, again, we want to make sure that we are doing our own due diligence here. But and the person also says, and her friends don't hold her accountable. Now, Kenya then claps back and says, you're assuming a lot. No one credible, including my corporate employer, has confirmed anything whatsoever. Therefore, everyone is literally running with the unsubstantiated claims and false narratives. Patience is a virtue, and so is due process. My problem with Kenya's statement is, I mean, it's literally been reported by everyone. So it's not, it would be one thing. It's so interesting. The area or the aspect of credibility in this regard, because it's also been reported, not only, by your favorite, media sites and blogs, but also established magazines and whatnot, including the Hollywood Reporter, Variety, People Magazine. The list could go on. So it's interesting. No one has confirmed anything, yes, but you are being suspended, so something happened. Okay. There has to be some investigation into something because they're not going to investigate into nothing. So I don't know about that. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section down below. And I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. Now, we got to quickly talk about Porsha and Simon because they are, of course, back in the news. Now, the headline reads, according to our friends over at the Bravo Shade Room, that Radar Online has dropped a bombshell from the new filing from Simon submitted on Friday, which was yesterday, claiming that Porsha over exaggerated and should be ultimately shut down for a number of reasons. Okay. Now, the headline reads, Simon fired back after his ex Porsha filed an emergency order seeking the right to film in their marital home, arguing that her request should be denied as the Bravo celebrity came to court with, quote, unclean hands. Now, he explained that Porsha purchased a house in Gwinnett County, Georgia, back in 2016, currently worth over $1.8 million, stating that she can film at that home or other locations. The quote says from his lawyer, petitioner fails to show that an emergency exists. Petitioner commenced this divorce action on February 22nd, 2024, yet waited 3 months before filing her emergency motion on May 20th. Now, it says that there is, to go further, there is no logical or rational reason as to why husband now seeks to prohibit wife from filming at the marital residence other than an attempt to retaliate against wife and intentionally restrict her ability to earn a living and expand her career. Now, this is what was charged in her emergency order filed on May 20th. So just to kind of give you guys a mental refresh on that. Now, Simon is responding to this by claiming that she wasn't forthcoming enough to warrant her request being granted, also arguing that she is engaged in intimidation tactics to force him out of the home. Now, I don't know what those intimidation tactics may be because it appears to me if those intimidation tactics are what is happening on social media, then you are both engaging in that, unless there is some other attempt to intimidate him that we don't necessarily know about. I guess maybe he could be referring to the man who was allegedly armed that came to the house with her or her family. I really don't know, but I'm interested to know what those intimidation tactics really are. Now, they go on to say that Porsha wants to use her employment to obtain relief from the court, but on the other hand, she wants to use the court to avoid providing documentation of her employment to the respondent to prevent him from preparing a defense against the petitioner's claims. The judge had previously ruled that they will determine the issue of filming recording at a later date. So it is sounding real sketch for the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16 right now. If it were me and if my job necessarily depended on it, I might would film at my other location if it was available to use if I was Porsha. Because I would imagine that for Bravo, this is yet another holdup to filming season 16. I don't think that we're going to get this anytime soon. Definitely, probably 2025 at the earliest, but it's not really looking too good. When I just think about the legality of how this is all working out and playing out in the media, especially with Porsha and Kenya, and so much happening with the two main faces of the show, I it's I don't know. I don't know. It's not looking too good right now. But again, you guys let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And of course, I will catch you in the next video.